Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti vaishnav vrinda ki jai. नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तस्यारविन्दनयनस्य पदारविन्दकिञ्जल्कमिश्रतुलसी मकरन्दवायुः अन्तर्गतस्वविवरेण चकार तेषां संक्षोभमक्षरजुषामपि चित्ततन्वो नेहयत्कर्मधर्माय न विरागाय कल्पते न तीर्थपदसेवायै जीवनपि मृतो हि सः प्रसङ्गं मजरं पाशम् आत्मनः कवयो विदु स एव साधुषु कृतो मोक्षद्वारम् अपावृतम् तितिक्षव कारुणिका सुहृदः सर्वदेहिनाम् अजातशत्रवः शान्ता साधवः साधुभूषणाः सतां प्रसङ्गान् मम वीर्यसंविदो भवन्ति हृत्कर्णरसायना कथा तज्जोषणादाशपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धारतिर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति हासं हरेरवनताखिललोकतीव्र शोकाश्रुसागरविशोषणमत्युदारम् सम्मोहनाय रचितं निजमाययास्य भ्रूमण्डलं मुनिकृते मकरध्वजस्य मद्गुणश्रुतिमात्रेण मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनोगतिरविच्छिन्ना यथा गङ्गामुसोऽम्बुदौ लक्षणं भक्तियोगस्य निर्गुणस्य उदाहृतम् अहेतुक्यव्यवहिता या भक्तिपुरुषोत्तमे सालोक्यसारष्टिसामीप्य सारूप्यैकत्वमप्युत दीयमानं न गृह्णन्ति विना मत्सेवनं जनाः यन्नामधेय श्रवणानुकीर्तनाद् यत्प्रवलनाद् यत्स्मरणादपि क्वचित् श्वादोऽपि सद्य सवनाय कल्पते कुतः पुनस्ते भगवन्नुदर्शनात् अहो बतश्व पचतो गरीयान् यज्जिह्वाग्रे वर्तते नाम तुभ्यम् ते पुस्तपस्ते जुहुवु सस्नुरार्या ब्रह्मानुचुर्नाम गृह्णन्ति ये ते हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are continuing our study of Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 27, entitled Understanding Material Nature. And we are going to continue today from text 14. So, this Srimad Bhagavatam 3.27.14. Shri Kapiladev Bhagwan is speaking to his mother, Srimati Devahuti Devi. Bhagwan Kapil Dev is saying, भूत सूक्ष्मेन्द्रिय मनो बुद्ध्यादिश इह निद्रया लीन्येष असति यस्तत्र विनिद्रो निरहंक्रियः. Although a devotee appears to be merged in the five material elements, the objects of material enjoyment, the material senses, and material mind and intelligence, he is understood to be awake and to be freed from the false ego. This is for the devotee. Devotee may appear to be present in this world, but the devotee is not bound by this world. Exactly like a lotus is in the water body, but is above the water body. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, The explanation by Srila Rupa Goswami in Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of how a person can be liberated even in this body is more elaborately explained in this verse. The living entity who has become Satyadrik, who realizes his position in relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, may remain apparently merged in the five elements of matter: earth, water, fire, air, ether. The five material sense objects: Shabda, Sparsha, Rup, Rasa, Gandha. The 10 senses: five karmendriyas, five jnanendriyas, and the mind and intelligence. A person may be controlled by these or apparently controlled by these, but still he is considered to be awake and to be freed from the reactions of false ego. Here, the word lean is very significant. The Mayavadi philosophers recommend merging in the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Brahma Jyoti mein leen ho jao. That is what the Mayavadis say. That is their ultimate goal or destination. That merging is also mentioned here, lean. But in spite of merging, one can keep his individuality. The example is given by Srila Jiva Goswami. A green bird flies into a nice lush green tree. Then everything becomes homogeneous. Everything becomes one. Everything looks like just one green thing. But even though the green bird, green parrot has entered the green tree, the parrot doesn't lose its identity. A green bird that enters a green tree appears to merge in the color of greenness, but actually the bird does not lose its individuality. Similarly, living entity merged either in the material nature or in the spiritual nature does not give up his individuality. Real individuality is to understand oneself to be eternal servant of Krishna. This information is received from the mouth of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said clearly upon enquiry of Sri Sanatan Goswami that a living entity is a servitor of Krishna eternally. Jivera Swarup hai Krishnara Nitya Das. Krishna also confirms in Bhagavad Gita that the living entity is eternally his part and parcel. Mamayamsha, Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta, Sanatana. Eternally we are part of Krishna. Now text number 15. Bhagwan Kapil Dev further says, Manyamanas anashto nashtavan mrisha nashte ahankarane drashta nashtavitta ivaturaha. The living entity can vividly feel his existence as the seer, but because of the disappearance of the ego during the state of deep sleep, he falsely takes himself to be lost, like a man who has lost his fortune and feels distressed, thinking himself to be lost. Srila Prabhupada will explain, only in ignorance does a living entity think that he is lost, because a jiva can never be lost. Because our nature is Sat Chit Ananda, and Chit means knowledge. We feel lost when we are not in knowledge. I don't know what to do. I don't know where I am. I don't know why this is happening. See, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We feel lost. We feel bewildered because of lack of knowledge. If by attainment of knowledge he comes to the real possession of his eternal existence, he knows that he is not lost. An appropriate example is mentioned herein. Nashta vitta iva turaha. A person who has lost a great sum of money may think that he is lost, but actually he is not lost. Only his money is lost. Hare Krishna. But due to his absorption in the money or due to identification with the money, he thinks that he is lost. Similarly, when we falsely identify with matter as our field of activities, we think that we are lost, although actually we are not. Because we identify so much with this material world and everything in this material world is temporary, When those things are taken away, we feel lost. Oh, I lost everything. I lost everything. But actually, factually, the soul has not lost anything because the soul has nothing to do with this material world. What is lost is material, and the soul is not material, and the soul actually has nothing to do with anything material. So nothing is lost, but we feel we have lost everything. People even commit suicide because they think they have lost everything. By getting low grades in an examination, sometimes people commit suicide. By suffering financial loss in life, in the stock market crash or in business, sometimes people feel they have lost everything and they don't want to live anymore. Text 16. Bhagavatam teaches us that this is a wrong conception. One should not think like that. The soul doesn't lose anything. What is lost is material, but the soul is not material. Text 16. Evam pratyavamrishyasa atmanam pratipadyate sahankarasya dravyasya yovasthanam anugraha. Bhagavan Kapil Dev is saying, when by mature understanding one can realize his individuality, then the situation he accepts under false ego becomes manifest to him. When we have mature understanding, when we have real knowledge, then our mistakes become very visible to us. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, this is a wrong conception I was holding. On the next page, in the purports, second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada writes, both in material existence and in spiritual existence, the individuality continues. The only difference is in the quality of the identification. So individuality is there in the material world, all of us agree. Individuality similarly is there in the spiritual world also. Just like in the material world, we think I am Mukta Sangha Prabhu, I am Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, I am Radha Gopinath Prabhu, I am Shama Vallabhi Mataji. Similarly, in spiritual life also will have a name. Haribol. That individuality will continue even in the spiritual world. The difference is in the material world, we think we are this material body, and in the spiritual world, our identity is based upon our relationship with Krishna. In the next paragraph, Srila Prabhupada reminds us, it is stated in the Ishopanishad that everything belongs to the Lord. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Further down, false egoistic acceptance of things makes one conditioned. Whereas acceptance of things as they are, that everything belongs to Krishna, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Suridam Sarvabhutanam, Krishna. When we recognize Krishna like that, then one becomes liberated. False identification, bondage. Real identification that everything belongs to Krishna, including myself, liberation. It's all about the right knowledge. Text 17. Devahute ruvacha purusham prakritir brahman na vimucchati karhichit anyonya sashra yatyacha nityatvad anayo prabho. Shri Devahuti Mata inquired, my dear son, my dear Brahman, does material nature ever give release to the spirit soul? Since one is attracted to the other eternally, how is their separation possible? How is it possible? No, vimunchati. How is it possible? Because they are attracted to each other, the soul and Prakriti. Isn't it Visena? Anadi Bahirmukh. We are, since time immemorial, attracted to matter. So Mother Devi is asking, is it really possible for matter to be separated from the soul? Is it ever possible for the soul to get liberated? Purport. Srila Prabhupada says, Devahuti, the mother of Kapiladev, here makes her first inquiry. Although one may understand that spirit, soul, and matter are different, Tatastha Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, they're different. But although they are different, the spirit, soul, and matter, although they are different, their actual separation is not possible. It's not possible. Either philosophical speculation, it is not possible, or by proper understanding, also, it is not possible. Why? Because the spirit soul is the marginal potency of the Lord, and matter is the external potency of the Lord. The two eternal potencies have somehow or the other been combined since time immemorial. कृष्ण बहिर्मुख जीव भोग वांछा करे, कृष्ण भूलिया से जीव अनादि बहिर्मुख. So they are always together, prakriti and the soul. How can they become, how can the individual soul become liberated from Maya? That is the question of Mother Devoti. Text 18. यथा गंधस्य भूमेश्च न भावो व्यतिरेकतः अपाम रसस्य च यथा तथा बुद्धे परस्य च. As there is no separate existence of the earth and its aroma, the aroma cannot be separated from the earth. It's a quality of earth. Or as there is no separate existence of water and taste, cannot separate because taste is the quality of water. As there is no separate existence, similarly, there is no separate existence of intelligence and consciousness. Consciousness is the soul, and buddhi is the subtle body. And they are always together, the spiritual body and the subtle body. Purport. The example is given here that anything material has an aroma. The flower, the earth, everything has an aroma. If the aroma is separated from the matter cannot be identified. If there is no taste to water, the water has no meaning. If there is no heat in the fire has no meaning. Similarly, when there is no intelligence, the spirit soul has no meaning. And the intelligence, buddhi, is completely invested in material things. And the soul is connected to the intelligence, subtle body. So, how can the soul ever be liberated from this material world? That is the question. Akartu karma bandhoyam purushasya yad ashrayah गुणेषु सत्सु प्रकृते कैवल्यम तेष अत कथम. This was text 19. Mother Devahuti continues to explain her question. Hence, even though he is the passive performer of all activities, how can there be freedom for the soul as long as material nature acts on him and binds him? The soul is the passive performer of activities. Soul has nothing to do with this matter. Soul is there. Kshetrajna is passive performer of our activities. How can there be freedom for the soul as long as material nature keeps acting on him and keeps binding him? If material nature keeps binding us, how can the soul ever expect to become free, liberated? Purport. Srila Prabhupada says, although the living entity desires freedom from the contamination of matter, he is not given release. How many of us want to become liberated from this material world? Yes. Are we liberated? Are we liberated by desiring? Mother Devotee is saying, how is it possible? How can someone really get liberated? Further down in the same paragraph, Srila Prabhupada says, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated it's very difficult to get out of the clutches of material nature. Very difficult. Devi esha gunamai mama maya durattaya. Very difficult. Further down, same paragraph. Devahuti poses the question that although one may speculate in many ways, where is liberation as long as one is under the spell of material nature? The answer is also found in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, famous verse. Only one who has surrendered himself unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna can be freed from the clutches of Maya. Mam evaya prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Prabhupada says Mother Devavuti's questions are very intelligent because she's asking, how can one be liberated? How can one be liberated? Text 20. क्वचित् तत्त्वावमर्शेण निवृत्तं भयमुल्बणम् अनिवृत्तनिमित्तत्वात् पुनः प्रत्यवतिष्ठते. Even if the great fear of bondage is avoided by mental speculation and inquiry into the fundamental principles, it may still appear again since its cause has not ceased. Even if by great fear of bondage is avoided by mental speculation and inquiry into the fundamental principles, one practices so much speculation, jnana, but still bondage may appear again, since the cause of bondage has not ceased. And the cause of bondage is that we want to enjoy, we have ichha, we have desires. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, material bondage is caused by putting oneself under the control of matter because of false ego of lording it over material nature. Bhagavad Gita 7.27 states, Ichha Dvesha Samuthena. Two kinds of propensities arise in the living entity. Ichha, I want to enjoy this, I want to do this. And Dvesh, envy. Envy. One becomes envious of Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. When we want it, we are manifesting envy towards Krishna. Next paragraph. Devahuti very intelligently says one may theoretically analyze and say that by knowledge he has become freed, but actually, as long as the cause exists, he is not free. Bhagavad Gita confirms that after performing such speculative activities for many, many births, when one actually comes to his real consciousness and surrenders into the Supreme Lord Krishna, then the fulfillment of his research and knowledge is actually achieved. Which verse is this? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes, Janani Mataji.
बहुनाम जन्मनाम ज्ञानवान
Yes, thank you.
वासुदेव
Yes. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. After many, many years, lifetimes of research, one concludes that, oh, Krishna is all in all, and then surrenders to Krishna. That is perfection of knowledge. So, after explaining this question, how can the soul actually become liberated? Bhagwan Kapiladev is now beginning to speak. Text 21. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. अनिमित्तानिमित्तेन स्वधर्मेण मलात्मना तीव्रया मयि भक्त्या च श्रुतसंभृतया चिरम्. Supreme Personality of Godhead Bhagwan Kapiladev said, Mother's question was, can anybody be liberated from this material world? Bhagwan Kapiladev replies, one can get liberation by seriously discharging devotional service. Tivraya Mayi Bhaktya. Mayi Bhaktya. My Bhakti Tivraya, with intensity. One can get liberation from by seriously discharging devotional service unto me and thereby hearing for a long time about me or from me. Hearing about me or hearing from me. By thus executing one's prescribed duties, there will be no reaction and one will be freed from the contamination of matter. We can become liberated by performing our duties with the right consciousness that everything belongs to Krishna. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami comments in this connection that by association with material nature alone, one does not become conditioned. This is very beautiful. So please pay close attention. This is extremely beautiful. Siddhanta. Srila Sridhar Swami comments, by association with material nature, one does not become conditioned. No, it's not like that. Why one becomes conditioned? Conditioned life begins only after one is infected by the modes of material nature. If someone is in contact with the police department, that does not mean that he is a criminal. As long as one does not commit criminal activities, even though there is a police department, one is not punished. Similarly, the liberated soul is not affected, although he is in the material world. Hari Bol. And the example is on lotus flower. Although the lotus flower is in association with water, it does not mix with the water. That is how one has to live, as described here by Bhagwan Kapil Dev. Animitta nimittena swadharmena malatmana. Next paragraph in the middle, Srila Prabhupada says, in discharging Krishna conscious duties, one should determine whether by our professional duties, occupational duties, Krishna is satisfied or not. Swanushritasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Whatever profession we have, we should analyze and see if we are pleasing Krishna with our activities. Because ultimately everything we are doing for Krishna. Prabhupada quotes, Yajnarthat karmano nyatyar. We have to perform karma for Yajna, that is Lord Vishnu. Anyatra karma bandhana. And if we don't do that, then karma will bind us. In the last paragraph, Srila Prabhupada explains there are two kinds of scriptures, Shruti or scripture. One is spoken by the Lord, Bhagavad Gita. Another is spoken about the Lord and his devotees, Srimad Bhagavatam. Two types of scriptures. Both we should read, they will purify our heart. Ridantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti suritsata. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata seva. Text 22. ज्ञानेन दृष्टतत्त्वेन वैराग्येण बलीयसा तपोयुक्तेन योगेन तीव्रेणात्म समाधिना. This devotional service, what Bhagavan Kapil is talking about, this devotional service has to be performed strongly in perfect knowledge and with transcendental vision. Jnanena drishta tattvena. And there should be vairagya. And it should be performed very strongly, very powerfully, renouncing everything. Baliyasa tapo yuktena yogena. One must be strongly renounced and must engage in austerity and perform mystic yoga in order to be firmly fixed in self-absorption. That is how we are supposed to practice devotional service. Strong determination. Baliyasa. Yogena. By performing yoga. Tivrena. With fixed mind. Atma samadhina. By being absorbed in the Atma. And vairagyena. By renunciation. We must develop renunciation also. And the purport Srila Prabhupada says, devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be performed blindly due to material emotion or mental concoction. Just out of emotion, we should not perform bhakti. Oh, I feel like this. I like this puja. I like this deity. No. And not through mental concoction. I think this should be done. I feel this should be done. No, that's all mental concoction. Bhakti cannot be practiced on material emotion, and bhakti cannot be practiced by material concoction. It is specifically mentioned here that one has to perform devotional service in full knowledge. We have to perform bhakti with full knowledge. It is said that development of Krishna consciousness is exhibited by proportionate material detachment or vairagya. Very important point. Development of Krishna consciousness is proportionate to our vairagya, how much we have become detached. If one does not separate himself from material enjoyment, it is to be understood that he is not advancing in Krishna consciousness. If we are still attached to sense gratification, we should know that we are not very advanced in Krishna consciousness, no matter what others say. Others may say that we are very advanced, but if we are not renounced from the temptation to engage in sense gratification, our senses are not controlled, then we are not on the auspicious path. Text 23. Prakriti purushasyeha dhayamanat aharnisham tiro bhavitri shanakair agner yonirivaranihi. The influence of material nature has covered the living entity, and thus it is as if the living entity were always in a blazing fire. Material nature has covered see, the topic of this chapter is understanding material nature. Material nature has completely engulfed the living entity. covered the living entity. It is as if the living entity, Jiva, is always in a blazing fire. Samsara davanala. But by the process of seriously discharging devotional service, this influence can be removed. Just as wooden sticks which cause a fire are themselves consumed by it. There's a fire of material nature, samsara dava, and the good thing is by practicing bhakti, this davanal can actually burn itself out. It can burn itself out. That is the power of bhakti. In the second paragraph in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the devotee in full Krishna consciousness appears superficially to be a great karmi, always working. But the inner significance of the devotee's activities is that they are meant for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. This is called bhakti, devotional service. Bhakti means to perform activities which are favorable to Krishna for the satisfaction of Krishna. Text 24. भुक्तभोगा प्रतीयत्ता दृष्टदोषा च नित्यशः नेश्वरस्याशुभं धत्ते स्वे महिम्नि स्थितस्य च. By discovering the faultiness of his desiring to lord it over material nature, and by therefore giving it up, the living entity becomes independent and stands in his own glory. How does the jiva become glorious? By realizing the faultiness of the desire to lord over material energy, understanding the fault in sense gratification, and then giving it up forever. Parityakta, giving it up. That's how Mahimni Sitasya Swe. That's how the soul gets situated in his glorious position by understanding the problem of sense gratification and giving it up. Very important. Purport. Because the living entity is not actually the enjoyer of the material resources, his attempt to lord over material nature is always frustrated. Always frustrated. As a result of frustration, he desires more power than ordinary living entity. Then they go for siddhi. And then finally they get frustrated with that also, and then they want to merge in the existence of Supreme Lord forever. In this way, he develops a plan for greater and greater enjoyment. But this is not the most intelligent proposal. The real Ishwar or Ishwara Parama, the Supreme Ishwar or Supreme Independent, is Krishna. Ishwara Parama, Krishna. The living entity is Ishwar only when engaged in the service of the Lord. In other words, transcendental pleasure derived from loving service to the Lord is actual independence. We celebrate Independence Day. The real meaning of independence is to independently declare that I completely depend on Krishna. That is real independence. To take shelter of Krishna, Sharanagati. And last verse for today, text 25. Yata अप्रतिबुद्धस्य प्रस्वापो भव अनर्थभृत् स एव प्रतिबुद्धस्य न वै मोहाय कल्पते. In the dreaming state, one's consciousness is almost covered and one sees many inauspicious things. But when he is awakened and fully conscious, such inauspicious things cannot bewilder him. Yes, in a dreaming state, our consciousness is just very inactive, completely covered up. And yet we may see some inauspicious things in the dream-like state. But when we are awakened, all that is gone. We don't worry about it anymore. I remember a few days ago, I had a dream where I was driving a car and suddenly I found myself, I'm driving in the middle of the highway and I'm not able to open my eyes. I'm not able to open my eyes and I'm trying to open my eyes. My eyes are not opening. I'm not able to see. I'm scared. Oh, car is going to hit something. I don't know which lane I'm driving in. I don't know. Should I decelerate? What should I do? And in a panic, I woke up and I realized, oh, I was not able to open my eyes in the dream because I was sleeping. Eyes were shut. How many of you have had similar dreams where you try to open your eyes in the Mukta Sangha Prabhu? Hari bol. I'm feeling good. We are brothers. We get the same dreams. Parima Mataji also. So I get these types of dreams where I'm trying. Shama Kumari Mataji also. Hari bol. So it's everywhere. Anitha Ramya Mataji also. So it's happening in UAE. It's happening in New Zealand. It's happening in everywhere. Vanita and Shikha Mataji also got that same infection from Mukta Sangha Prabhu because they are under his care. He's giving them those dreams. I am also getting those dreams. So, but when we wake up, now we are laughing about it. Imagine if it was real, will we be laughing? No. So, because it's a dream, we wake up and we say, oh, it was not real. Similarly, once we attain Krishna, we will realize that the sojourn of the soul in this material world was like a bad dream. Why bad dream, my dear friends? Because no matter how bad things are in this material world, no matter how much we suffer in this material world, ultimately, can anything affect the soul? Even if we were at ground zero when the Hiroshima Nagasaki atomic bombs fell, the bodies are vaporized by the extreme heat. Body is destroyed. But can it touch the soul? Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So everything we are going through in this material world, everything we have gone through in this material world, everything we will go through in this material world will all become irrelevant when we enter Krishna's abode. It's a different world. We have a different swaroop. And Jaiva Dharma teaches us it's even a different time. There is no material time there. So all this will be, oh, thank God it's over. Bad dream, like that. So this Bhagavatam is saying, in a dreaming state, one consciousness is covered and one sees many inauspicious things because we are covered. Consciousness is covered. We don't know that this is all false. We get affected. But when we are awakened, fully conscious, inauspicious things cannot be built anymore. Now we don't think that I'm not able to open my eyes, I'm blind, I'm driving a car. No. We realize that, oh, it's 4:30, it's time for japa. That was just a dream. So like that, this world is also like that. Srila Prabhupada says, in the condition of dreaming, when one's consciousness is almost covered, one may see many unfavorable things which cause disturbance or anxiety. But upon awakening, although he remembers what happened in the dream, he is not disturbed. Like that. Srila Prabhupada says further down, the state of contaminated consciousness, material consciousness, is compared to the dream consciousness, and Krishna consciousness is compared to awakened stage of life. Jiva jago, Gaura Chanda bole. Like that. And what is the greatest benefit we can do to somebody who is suffering in a bad nightmarish dream? Wake up, wake up. Ah, that is the best thing. Prabhupada says, as long as a conditioned soul does not have this knowledge that I am Krishna's servant. Krishna is the proprietor. Bhuktaram megatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam nyatvam shantim rachati. Unless and until one does not know this peace formula of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the proprietor, Krishna is the enjoyer, and I am just Krishna's servant. Unless one understands this, as long as one does not have this knowledge, he wants to enjoy the material world. He wants to become humanitarian, philanthropist, open hospitals and schools for his fellow human beings. This is all illusion. For one cannot benefit anyone by such material activities because all these material activities are for the physical body and the subtle body, but they cannot touch the soul. If one wishes to benefit his fellow brother, he must awaken their dormant Krishna consciousness. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya ko bono hai. Shravanadi Shuddhi Chitti Koriye Uday. We have to awaken their Krishna consciousness. The Krishna conscious position is that of Pratibuddha, which means pure consciousness. Sa eva Pratibuddhasya na vai mohaya kalpate. Once we wake up to pure consciousness, Krishna consciousness, then there is no more bewildering. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayama shashvatam napvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. Once we reach Krishna, we don't have to come back to this material world. So we'll stop here today. And in the next session, Krishna willing, we'll certainly complete this chapter and enter chapter 28, which is devotional service. Hari Bol. So Bhagavan Kapil Dev Muni is saying that the solution to everything is bhakti. And what that bhakti is, Bhagavan Kapil Dev will tell us in the next chapter. So we'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Any questions or comments? Amrit Gaurangi Mataji, very happy to see you. You were traveling, so we missed your association. Thank you for being back. Gaur Chandra Prabhu, thank you. Hare Krishna. Many devotees are there. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining. And no questions, so we'll end it here. And we will see you day after tomorrow. How many of you are going to Sadhu Sangha? Vanit Prabhu, Shikha Mataji, Kavita Mataji, and family. Devahuti Mataji. Mukta Sangha Prabhu? No, you're not going. Okay. So not that many. Anuratha Leela Mataji, you are going, right? For Sadhu Sangha? Oh, no, you're not coming? Come to Alachua after that. You got the flyer, right? So we'll see you in Alachua. And US W29 sounds like some secret code number. Hare Krishna. So thank you. Who is US W29?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, it's me, Shama Kishori Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, we are also coming, Prabhuji. Looking forward to seeing everyone.
Yes, I spoke to Prabhuji today. Exchange message.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. See you all. There, Vatsala Mataji, you're not coming? Mukta Sangha Prabhu did not register you? Vatsala Mataji? Okay. Aradhya Madhavi Mataji, you're also not coming to Sadhu Sangha? Okay. So, but anyway, those of you who are coming, we'll see you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Nitai Gaur. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. How do I unmute? Sorry, something happened. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes. Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.